So I'm Tim Walling with SC Legal Carry. We train people to get a CWP in the state of South Carolina. If you need a concealed weapons permit, please look us up online at sclegalcarry.com. What we came to the range today to do is this is the new Taurus G3 and the 9mm they've come out with. This gun is clear. This is a super nice firearm that they've come up with here, and I really like the gun, like it a lot. It's got 3-dot sights on it. It does have a thumb safety on the firearm here, really easy to access and reach. Slide is not difficult at all to operate on the gun. It has an excellent trigger on this firearm. There's the reset. It's got a 4.5-pound trigger straight from the factory on this firearm. It is double action on it, and there is a lot of take up there, but once you get used to it and you hit the wall, it breaks really crisp and really fast. So what we're going to do is we're going to run 1,500 rounds. And here's what we're going to use today. So we got 1,500 rounds. We've got our magazines set up. We have the G3 magazines. These other two are 226, SIG 226 magazines. We got a 30-round magazine. We've got some sand, water, and some mud. So we're going to start putting some rounds through the firearm. Then we're going to come over here. We're going to dump it in the sand. We're going to shoot it. We're going to go back and dump it in the water and shoot it. Then we're going to dump it in the mud and shoot it. And we're going to run all this ammo through it and just see how the gun functions and operates today. So let's get started. Here we go, our first shots with the Taurus G3. Off to a good start with it. Right at 900 rounds, it still looks brand new. Well, we can see a little bit around the front here. Let's go over here and let's drop it in the sand and see how it does once we get it dirty. Here we go, guys. You can see we're running out of ammo here. It's getting thin. Time to drop it in the sand. So you went camping, maybe you went fishing. You got fishing on the beach. All right. Okay, let's see how it runs now. We have dropped our firearm. Let's go ahead and slide like it. Chamber's clear. So she's good and dirty. She's absolutely filled with sand there. So let's go down here and try it out now. Well, Taurus, she's still running even with all that dirt and sand inside of it. No malfunctions at all out of it. Let's go drop it in the water and get it good and wet. All right, guys, let's just drop it in the water and see how it does. Okay, guys, let's do the water test here. Let's pull it out. So it's filled with water, soaking wet. Let's go down here and let's see how it's running now. So we did the sand and now we dropped it in the water. It ran great even with the sand in it. Let's see about with the water in it here. Our first malfunction in it. Our second malfunction. Is it the magazine? Or is it the dirt and the grime and the water in it? All right, is it the magazine that's doing it? Let's try a different magazine, see what happens. All right, we had a lot of misfeeds. Let's see if it was that magazine. It is pretty nasty, the gun.
So don't drop your Taurus in the water.
Well, I guess don't fill it up with sand and then drop it in the water. You can really feel the grit and the grime in it when I try to pull it backwards. Just try another magazine. Maybe we can knock it loose. There we go. It's running a little better now. Had to get a little bit of that sand and dirt out of it. It's working itself free. The more we shoot it here, it's working itself loose. Guess it's knocking that sand and dirt out. That trigger is really hard to pull. And also, it's functioning double action. Even in single action, it's crunchy. It's got a lot of dirt and grime in it. Let's load it up and keep shooting it a little bit more, then we're gonna drop it in the mud, okay? See how it does. Alright guys, we reloaded the magazines. We had a few jams once we jumped it in the water, but now we had a lot of sand and dirt in it. And look at our ammo. We're almost out of ammo here. So we had 1,500 rounds when we started, so we got a lot of rounds through this gun, but it was kind of grindy and crunchy, so we just reloaded. We haven't put it back in the water or anything. We're gonna walk over here and we're gonna shoot it and see if we can kind of get some of that water and that sand out of it and get it running. Wow. That trigger has gotten really hard on the firearm. And so let's go over here and let's dump it in the mud and see how it does. And let's shoot our last bit of ammo through the mud. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna drop this G3 down here in the mud. Come on. I'm gonna ruin this glove, my good glove. So you went to the swamp, you're out hunting and you drop it in the mud. All right, let's see how she runs now. All right, guys, here we go. Covered in mud. We pulled her out of the mud. Let's see how it runs now. All right, third round, we finally got it in there. Let's give it a try here. There we go. Perfect. That trigger's still a little bit tough, but you also got to look at how nasty it is now. Pretty dirty, still running. All right, guys, so we're out of ammo here. This is the last run. So we did the sand, we did the water, we did the mud, then just the last time here, so it's clear. Let's just disassemble it and take it apart, and let's drop it here in the water. Let's try to clean it up good, see if we can get some of this off of it. So you're out camping, hiking, hunting, drop it in the dirt, come across a creek and you take it apart and try to clean it up a little bit here. Try to get the dirt out of it that you got in it. We're not going to strip it any further than that. And let's put her back together. There we go. There we are. All right. Test the trigger. Reset. Double action. Safety works. All right, guys. Let's go shoot it one final time. So our final rounds through our G3 here. So we've ran it through the sand, through the water, through the mud. We took it apart, tried to clean it up a little bit. Let's see what we got here with it. So maybe that's the trick. If you drop it If you drop it in sand or mud, maybe you just need to clean it off a little bit. Just popping it in is dropping the slide on the gun. Well, the trigger is definitely easier for me to pull now that I washed it out in the water just a little bit. Magazines are falling out again. Last magazine. All right. And here we are, clear. All right. And here we are, clear. So, guys, I think it did pretty good with all the ammunition. We put 1,500 rounds in it. We got it in sand, we dropped it in the water, we dropped it in a good bit of mud, and we still ran it. It only had a little bit of trouble when it had the sand on it and it got wet. But once we ran it through a little bit and cleaned it out, it was firing and working pretty good after that. I'd have to say we used cheap ammo, okay? And we put a lot of ammo through it, and it's really dirty. It's still functioning and running. You saw how the last magazines went through it. So in my opinion, I would definitely trust the firearm, especially if you've got it cleaned and oiled up and ready to go to protect yourself and your family. So Taurus, I think you did a great job on the firearm. We are back from the range after our test today. So I'm going to go ahead and break this down and we're going to clean it, and I'll just summarize what happened as I do that. All right, let's just summarize what we did. So we took the Taurus, the G3, we took it out to the range. We took 1,500 rounds with us. So while we were at the range, we were shooting Hertz ammo. We put 1,500 rounds through. The sky's clear. And altogether, I'd have to say that I would definitely trust the gun and run it. So look how filthy the gun is on the inside. It's pretty dirty. We didn't clean it while we were there. We'll just take it apart here. So we put, I don't know, we probably had 800 rounds, between 800 and 900 rounds through the gun when we experienced our first malfunction. We experienced no malfunctions in the gun at all. All that ammo run through it. The only time we had an issue was after we put it in the sand. We had sand in it, and the sand didn't seem to slow it down. It ran good. But once I actually threw it inside the water and let it sit in the water for a little while, I guess coupled with the sand, I had some failures to feed out of it, failures to go in the battery a few times. But once I ran some magazines through it, I'd say, looking at the video, so I had 11 different issues with it, but all in one row, all together there. And I ended up running maybe, let's say, 4 magazines, maybe 60, 70 more rounds through it after I had those 11 stoppages. But once that stopped, I didn't have any more trouble with it. I think maybe once it was failure to go in the battery once the first round I put in it after I took it out of that mud out there. But the mud didn't even slow it down. When I dropped it in it was just something about the water getting in it with that sand that was still in it that messed it up. And then towards the end there, I went back, took the gun apart, and I put it in the water. I did not disassemble the slide. I left the slide intact here. I just threw it in there, shook it around, shook this around in it. We ran the last of the ammo through the gun. Absolutely no more stoppages then. The trigger got kind of crunchy on me there. Once I got the water mixed in it coupled with the sand, trigger got a little crunchy, but it did clear up. Once I put it in the water and shook it around good later on, the trigger cleared right back up on it. So I guess I'd say if you're out using your firearm and you drop it in the sand or water, I would definitely go back. I'd definitely find some water and just take it apart and put it in there and shake it around in it and shake the water through it to knock any dirt, sand, anything like that off of it, get it loosened up. But all together, this is a really nice firearm. This firearm runs good, it shoots good, it's very accurate, easy to acquire the sights on this gun. The trigger is really nice on this gun. an extra benefit, this gun is double action. You can pull the trigger again if you do have a misfire in it. Best part of the day was probably getting to spend the day with my wife. My wife went out there. Michelle was shooting with me also, helped me load ammunition. Her little fingers are as sore as mine are from all that loading today, but she did a great job. She shot the gun a good bit also. She did a good job shooting the gun. She liked the gun herself. She enjoyed shooting it. She didn't have anything negative to say about it at all. She did a great job running the camera for me also. All right, so let's put it back together now. We got it cleaned up. Safety works. Double action, single action, reset. Just like brand new again. Still looks good. Slide is nice and smooth. Trigger is back. So guys, I'd have to say Taurus has done a good job with this firearm. Not only is it nice looking, it runs and functions good. It can handle a lot of rounds and dirt. It had a little difficulty there. We did have a lot of sand in it now, a lot of dirt. But other than that, it ran really, really good. Functioned really well, shoots good. All around, nice firearm. Remember guys, be a responsible adult. Don't push your responsibility off on a child. Buy gun locks and gun safes. Till next time, take care everybody.